The crazy thing is I used to try to spare people with these story times, but I don't care now. Like, I don't. I said, your cousin. He's like,
no, don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't even know she was my cousin.
Can't do the family stuff. I can't. That's nasty. What's up, you guys? It's your guys ItsTatyK, and I'm back with another video. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe to this video, give this video a thumbs up, hit that post notifications bell down below so you're notified whenever I post. And y'all, remember a few videos back I told you that I'll be retelling some stories on my channel, because when I first told them I left a lot of things out, and yeah, I'm about to put all the details and information into them. So yeah, keep watching, keep listening, and subscribe. Alright, so as you see from the title down below, today's video is a story time. And y'all, forgive me ahead of time if this video is long, but I'm going to tell this story in its entirety. Alright, let's go. This story time takes back in 2018. It was 2018 because I was like, it was like fall of 2018 because I was like 19, right? So I was in college during this time, and at this time I had got my first job while in school, and I was working at Rainbow. As y'all know, Rainbow was a miserable job for me. If you don't know what Rainbow is a clothing store, right? It's where like people would usually go and get some like cheap clothing or like school uniforms from, and that's like where I go get my school uniforms from, whatever, right? Anywho, that's neither here nor there. But I was working there, and that was miserable. Either way, I was trying to apply for this job at Walmart. Now, the reason behind why I was trying to apply for Walmart,
that's another story time.
But I had a reason as to why I was trying to apply for Walmart. I do have a reason as to why I was trying to apply for Walmart, but that's another story time, right? Well, long story short, it was for a guy. I know, embarrassing, right? And y'all, I'm gonna give you guys a disclaimer. This story is cringy, at least to me, right? So I would go into Walmart. I had submitted my application like 2 times, and for some reason I wasn't hearing back from them, and I was like, dang, like I want to get this job because 1, like my crush works here, and 2, it pays more than where I'm working at, and I definitely needed more money, especially being in college. Books, all that, it adds up. Gas, all of it adds up, and Rainbow wasn't paying like that. $7.20. Well, I was getting paid $7.50. You know, it's still we're not making it work anymore, right? Yeah, I got expenses at this point. So one day I went to the job, or I went to the store, and I was grocery shopping with my mom. I'm trying to figure out how I came across this guy. I was going down the aisles. And my mom was like,
why don't you ask one of the workers here about how they applied or how they got the job and how they got people to respond back to them?
I was like, that's smart, right? That's a good idea. So I did just that. I went down one of the aisles. I was in the freezer section, and I seen this boy. We're gonna name him, ooh, I should have thought about this. Oh, okay, we're gonna name him Doug, y'all. Dude, just hold on. We're gonna name him Doug, all right? That I can remember that Doug. I can remember Doug, all right? We're gonna name him Doug. So I went up to this guy. He looked like he was around my age, right? Like, you know, 17, 18, 19, maybe 20, right? I was like, you know, you kind of in the age, right? Let me ask him. He's young. Let me see how he got the job. So I went up to him, and I was like, hi. He turned around because he was putting stuff in the freezer. He was like, what's up? I said, hi. I just wanted to know, like, how did you get the job here at Walmart? Because I submitted my application here 2 times, and nobody has gotten back to me. He was like,
oh, okay, yeah. Man, I can't remember.
Sir, you don't remember how you got this job? BFFR. I was like, okay. I said, so like, you don't know what you did, like who you spoke to? Do you know somebody I could speak to, perhaps? He was like,
yeah, I do know this one lady. I can't remember her name though.
Okay. I was like, well, is there somebody? Do you know somebody that knows? Like, do you know? Do you have any? What do you know? How can you help me? Okay. So he's like, oh wait, I got a friend down the next aisle that could give you some information. He could he knows the name of the people better than I do. I said, okay, cool. So we go down to the next aisle and we come across this guy. We're gonna name him F it. We're gonna use his real name. Like, it's pretty generic. His name was Chris. I ain't got no problem with him. He was cool. So hey Chris, if you ever see this video, you remember me. Alright, so we're gonna name him Chris. His name was Chris, right? They said that wasn't his real name at one point. I was like, what is it? Who are you? But yeah, we're gonna name him Chris for the sake of the story time. So I go to this guy named Chris. He's a bigger guy. Oh, by the way, I didn't describe Doug. Okay, so Doug was like I said, he was around like, he was 19 actually. He was like 19 at the time, 18, 19. And Doug is like, he's tall, like about 6'2", 6'3". A lean built, like he's skinny, but like he's like that skinny built type of dude. You know what I mean? He was dark skinned, had glasses. And he had like a fade. He had a fade. It's called a fade, right? With a little afro was good. Yeah, he had a fade. It's a fade for the story time. Alright, so he had a fade. And you know, that's kind of what Doug looked like. Doug wasn't ugly. Doug just wasn't my cup of tea. You know, it's like he's one of those people that like aren't ugly. But they're okay. But like, they may be cute to somebody else. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's like, you're not ugly. You're just cute to somebody else. Yeah. Alright, so Doug takes me to this guy named Chris. Chris is a older guy, clearly. He was like, he's in his late 20s, early 30s. I think he might have been in his mid 30s actually though. Heavy set built guy. He too was tall. He was like 6'3". And I don't know, it's not much. He had a low cut. I mean, it's not much really to describe about him. He was just a chill guy. I said, hey, my name is Tati. Doug told me to ask you, like Doug was standing right there too. He was like, you know, Doug told me to ask you, like, who can I speak to about my application at Walmart because I'm trying to get the job here. He's like,
oh, you can speak to this lady, the HR, Nisi.
That's not her real name, by the way. You can speak to Nisi. I'm like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, speak to Nisi. Matter of fact, what's your position you're trying to get into? And this is what Chris is saying. He's like, what's the position you're trying to get into? I was like, oh, I'm just trying to do like cashier because that's what I do at my job now. Well, I did several things in my job then, but yeah, I was just trying to do cashier. He was like, oh, matter of fact, you could actually speak to the manager of the cashier department. She's here today. It was at night too. It was kind of odd. Well, no, it was in the evening. So she was still there actually though. And he was like, oh, her name is Millie. So I was like, oh, okay. So he walks me to Millie. I speak to Millie. I'm like, hey, I'm Tati. I'm trying to apply for this job here. I submitted my application twice and nobody's gotten back to me. I've tried to call HR and like nobody's picking up the phone. She's like, it's fine. I'll pull up your... Oh, by the way, Millie was this white lady. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie, she had like a body. Everybody would always talk about Millie's body's so big. Like, Millie was cool though. We liked Millie. Millie was cool. And she always had this short bob. Like, I ain't gonna lie, she was fine. She was fine. So I'm speaking to Millie. Millie's like, it's cool. I'm gonna pull up your application. She wrote down my name, my number. She's like, I'm gonna get back to you, or you might get a call from Nisi, the HR lady. I said, cool, like that's great. So I'm sitting there, I'm walking back, and you know, by this time Chris has walked off and he started going back to his department. He was like, you know, before he left, he was like, nice to meet you, hopefully I'll see you around here soon, and goes back to his department. But you know, I'm like, all right, you know, I told everybody thank you for helping me, and I'm starting to continue my grocery shopping, and I noticed that Doug is still following me, and I'm just like, yes. And he's like,
so like, your name's Tati? I didn't ask you your name.
and I'm like, yeah, my name is Tati. He's like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's cool. It got like an awkward silence. I could not describe that. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, well, thank you for helping me. I'm gonna, you know, continue my shopping. Maybe I'll see you around. He was like,
oh, wait. Can I get your number? You know, I just want to keep you updated, like, help you out if I can.
sir, you couldn't even tell me who the HR was. How could you help me? You couldn't even tell me how you got the job. How can you help me? You redirected me to somebody else. How can you help me? I'm just like, okay. I see you came up with an excuse as to why I should give you my number. But I ain't gonna lie, I would have respected it more if you just would have asked for my number. Like, you know, I hate when guys try to give that sorry excuse as to why they should have your number. Just ask for the girl's number. It's just that simple. It's not that, you gotta be all that. ain't gotta be all that, right? Like, it ain't gotta be all that. So I'm like, he would be good entertainment, perhaps. I feel like he would be good entertainment. Y'all, so I gave him my number, and I'm like, alright, you know, I'll let you know if they update me about the job, or if anybody gets in contact with me. If I have any questions, I'll let you know. He was like, oh, okay, cool. So he, you know, he does first text, like, oh, hey, this is Doug. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, this is Tati. He's like, alright, I'm gonna text you when I get off or whatever. So that was like quick little chit chat in the messages. I continued my shopping with my mom. I told my mom like the situation, what happened. I found these two guys, they were able to help me and find, well, one of them was able to help me to find out who I need to speak to at Walmart to figure out how to get this job. Cause like, y'all, I did not know getting a job at Walmart was that difficult. At least for me it was at that Walmart. So we do our shopping, start packing stuff up, and it's time for me to go. And I get a message from Doug saying, hey, you still here? I'm getting off. Y'all, I'm in a car going down the road at this point. I'm like, oh no, I'm not still here. Like, it's been like 2 hours later. Why would I be sitting in Walmart for like 2-3 hours? Be for real. Like, you thought I was waiting for you to get off? No. So I'm like, no, I'm at home. Like, I'm gone. Like, I'm gone from the area. He's like, oh dang, when you think you gonna be coming back up here? I was like, when I need groceries. Yeah, I'm not even trying to be rude, but I was just like, oh, I don't know. But I'll let you know if I do ever come back up in there. And you know, we're having a little chit chat. He seems pretty alright. You know, he seemed pretty cool. Like, our conversations, like, were average in my opinion. Like, I didn't see nothing special about it at all from how I would have a conversation with anybody else. At least that's how I saw it. You know, he's like, what do you do all day? During this time, like I said in the beginning, I was in college, and it was my fall semester. This was this my first semester in college? No, this wasn't my first semester. This was actually finishing my first year in college, because I was 18. Yeah, I think I was finishing like my first year. I was going into my second year. I was going into my second year because I was 18, right?
Hey y'all, so I actually ended up confusing myself. I was 19 and completing my first year of college.
So I'm talking to him about school. He's like, oh, what classes do you take? I'm telling him where I go. You know, blase, average conversation. He's like, oh, you know, I think you're cool. I hope you get the job here or whatever. So he would be texting me when I'm in school or when I'm at my job that I was working at the time, Rainbow, asking me like, how's everything going? He seemed pretty decent. He was pretty decent in text, you know, nothing too shabby. And there would be times I would go up to Walmart, like if I had to get groceries or something. Like, one thing about it, two things for sure, I would always keep a snack on me when I was at school. Like, I always keep a snack in my car, in my backpack. I was always keeping a snack because I want to have like odd times for my classes, because like my college wasn't really small, but it wasn't really big. It was kind of like mid-size, but it was also like, it wasn't big enough to have like multiple like classes to kind of like fit your schedule. It's kind of like what's available. It's kind of like one of those situations. It's not like you can form your schedule, but I can't say you're gonna get the schedule you want. I really can't. So sometimes I'll be at school from like 9 to 4. You know, I would kind of have like kind of long days at school, right? But like I said, I would keep snacks. So I would go into Walmart, pick up some snacks. I would stop by the frozen section to see Doug. I'm like, hey Doug, hey, I'm in the store, what's up? You know, I text him like, hey, where you at? Like, what's up? And like, it was just chill. Like, honestly, because one thing about it, I was very playful. I'm a very playful person. Like, and I really mean no harm, but you know, I'm one of those people that, I guess you could say, flirt unintentionally. Like, that's just my personality. It's not nothing serious, but it's just, you know. And I understand it could be misleading, but I feel like I can be quite clear, like, that it's just friendly fire. You know, I just have a bubbly personality when I'm around people that I think are cool or chill. And it, you know, it's nothing personal, like I said. So I would see him while he's at work. We'd be talking. He'd be asking me about the job. I'm like, yeah, I haven't heard nothing yet, or like I've heard something. Like, I would just let him know. And he's like, oh, okay, that's cool, but like let me know when you come in for an interview or whatever. We literally were so close to the fact to where I guess we were texting so much to the fact to where I was like, oh, he's kind of like a brother to me. Like, I kind of saw him as a big brother. I don't know, I tend to see like guys as like either little brothers or big brothers. I guess because like I've always wanted a brother and like I never had a brother, so I don't know, I do stuff like that. So I saw him as a big brother, right? It would be play fighting in the aisle, like it was just I saw it as like all fun, all games, right? Fast forward, we would be texting same old throughout the week. It came one day to where Walmart called me for an interview and was like, oh, we want you to come in for an interview and blase. So I let Doug know. I was like, Doug, he's like, what's up? I said, I got an interview with Walmart. He's like, oh, bet. He's like, when is that? I was like, oh, it's like in 2 weeks, because I wanted to give my job that I was at a 2 weeks notice. I wasn't going to give him a 2 weeks notice until I know I was set for an interview with Walmart, because I never want to leave a job without having another job, you know? That was me adulting at a young age. So yeah, he was like, oh, okay, cool, you gonna be here with me? I was like, yep, I'm gonna see you, right? And I would notice that sometimes when I would come into Walmart, I would often also see Chris, and Chris would be like, oh, you must like Donald. I was like, who? He's like,
Donald.
I was like, who's Donald? He's like, the guy you always speak to. I'm like, huh? Now, side note, I would sometimes when I go to Walmart, like I would speak to Chris too, because he was cool. He helped me get the job. I ain't gonna lie. Like, he gave me the information I need to know. But Chris would call Doug by his real name. Now, when I first spoke to Doug and he told me his name was Doug, I thought it was a nickname, but it's like I did not expect his real name to be so plain. I just, you know what I mean? It's like one of the people that got them real out there nicknames, and then you get their name. Their name is like Alfred, Washington. I don't know, what's a plain name? Larry. They call me Lou Shooter. Oh, okay, so what's your real name, Larry? What? Yeah, so Doug told me his name was Doug. I remember asking, I was like, Doug, like, what's your real name? He's like, Doug. I said, so that's your, like, government name? He's like, yeah, my government name is Doug. So when I heard Chris say Donald, I was very confused as to, like, who was Donald? I was like, I've spoken to a Donald. Who's Donald? And then Chris was like, that's Donald, because I seen Doug walking by. I said, wait, Doug's name is Donald? He's like,
yeah, what, like, you thought his real name was Doug?
I said, well, that's what he told me it was, and I had no other way to prove otherwise. He's like, no, that's Donald. I was like, okay, not here to judge anyone, but it was just such a stretch from, like, his nickname and the real name. I was like, okay, that's different. So either way, we're gonna fast forward a little bit more. Weeks are going by. Me and Doug are still talking. So me and Doug, we conspired this little plan to be like, oh, let's hang out one day, right? So I was like, okay, you know, it's cool. He's like, he want to hang out with me one day. Let's go catch a movie. I was like, okay, that's pretty chill. That's cool, right? And there's a movie like not too far from where I live and not too far from where he lived. By the way, one thing I did forget to mention is, like, I would go to Walmart every so often just to see him, like, or like to pick up some groceries, really. And then I would see him just out of convenience. Like, if I'm getting groceries, I just usually go to that Walmart. I would just see you if I'm in the store. It was one time I took him home. Everything was cool. We're talking, like, y'all, he was not far. I did not mind taking him home because he was really not far that day. Well, not that day. He just wasn't far. He lived like 8 minutes from the store, which was not, it wasn't even really out the way, I could say. He lived 8 minutes from the store. And, like, it was just, I remember it was, like, cold. And he was like, oh, I usually call it Uber, but, you know, I'm trying to save my money, and I'm trying to get my siblings to come, but nobody's picking up the phone. And I was like, well, I could wait a few minutes for you to get off. Because I had went in the store to get, like, some snacks, like I said, or some food or whatever. And I was going to go home because I got at school the next day. But I was like, I could wait about 15-20 minutes for you to get off. He was like, cool, I'll be back in, like, 5. Which he was back in, like, 5 because I guess he clocked out a little early. He was like, okay, I'm going to give you the instructions to get to my house. So he told me how to get to his house. And we was just chilling in the car for a minute. Like, once I got there, we was just talking. So when you get to talking to people, especially when it's at night, I don't know, I feel like you get to learn more about the person. Or I feel like maybe because it's at night, people are kind of getting sleepy and they start saying stuff they wouldn't normally say if they were. It's almost like a drunk person, you know what I mean? Like, drunk people don't usually, they say stuff they wouldn't say if they were sober, right? And I feel like that's how sleep kind of goes. Like, you say stuff you wouldn't really say if you were awake. So we were talking. So I asked Doug, I said, oh, yeah, like, where are you from? And don't quote me, but I want to say he said he was from Alabama originally. Y'all, we're not going to judge nobody from Alabama, but we about to judge him in this story time. So I want to say he told me he was from Alabama. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, cool. He was like, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from Atlanta. Like, I'm from here. I'm from Georgia, right? He was like, oh, okay. So we was just talking. I can't really remember the conversation, and I don't want to misquote nothing. But I remember he was like, yeah. He started talking about his family. And I was like, oh, how many siblings and brothers do you got? Like, how many people is in your family? He was like, let's throw a random number, like 6 or 7 people, right? I was like, oh, that's cool. He was like,
man, I ain't even gonna lie though, like, I got this cousin, right?
I don't know. Immediately in my head, I was like, here we go, Alabama. Like, you know how you see the memes about people from Alabama and their cousins. Yeah. He was like, I ain't gonna lie, like, I got this one little fine cousin. I was like, no. He was like,
I got this one fine cousin, man. She got a badass. Like, she got a badass. I ain't gonna lie, like, I want, well, cause like I was trying my hardest for like longest just to sleep with her, man. Like, I was really trying to sleep with her.
I said, what? I said, your cousin? He's like,
no, don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't even know she was my cousin.
I said, so, I said, so how did you find out she was your cousin? He's like, oh, my family told me. I'm like, okay. I said, so like, where did you see this person at? He was like, oh, we was at a family reunion. I can't. I said, wait, you're at a family reunion. You find this girl that you see they're attractive, and it doesn't dawn on you that perhaps she might be your family. I don't know how y'all do in Alabama. You know, look. Anyways, that's y'all. Do your thing, right? Don't do that, though. Don't do it. Don't do that. But yeah, he's like,
yeah, man, she was fine. She had a badass. Man, I was trying to get on that.
I'm like, oh. I said, well, did you ever sleep with her? He was like,
no. Cause I did find out she was my cousin, man, but I wish I would have did it before I found out.
So you're telling me, even in this state of mind and finding out the information that you now know, you still wish you could go back in time and done what you wanted to do before you found out she was your cousin? That's sick. That is sick. If anything, I would expect you to have regret. That's sick. I'm like, oh. So y'all, any type of potential attraction that was there, potential anything, after I heard that, eliminated. It was gone from me. Cause I'm like, oh, can't do the family stuff. I can't. That's nasty. I was like, how do you even look? Cause I don't need not one person explaining that in the comments. I was about to say, how do you look at your family like that? How do you look at a cousin like that? Anybody like that? There's weird people out here. I don't need nobody to explain it in no type of way. That's just weird. I'm sorry. It is. There's limits to everything, okay? Okay. So I'm just sitting there with that information in the back of my head. Like, he's continuing on the conversation talking about something. I don't even know. Because, like, after he said that, everything went on mute to me. I was like,
is this boy for real? He really think I'm talking to him after he just told me he wanted to sleep with his cousin. Is he for real? Be fucking for real. Like, really? I gotta worry about other people out here, and you talk about you want to sleep with your cousin, your family? I'm not about to sit here and worry about no family members either. That is gross. Like, be for real, and you still trying to talk to me?
I was just so gone. I really was. And then I zoned back and I was like, yeah, like, I don't know. Just finding out that information, that conversation, it made everything weird from that point on. I was like, yeah, Yep, this will never be anything at all. So he continued his little conversation. I would say I'll give about 5 minutes later after that. I was like, okay, well, you know, I got class in the morning. I got to work tomorrow, so I really need to be on my way back home so I can go to sleep and prepare for the next day. He was like, oh, okay, that's cool, though, it's cool. You know, thanks for dropping me off, though. Thanks for dropping me off. And I'm like, oh, you know, it's no biggie smalls. Okay, get out my car, you weirdo. No, but it's okay, though. You know, I'll talk to you later. You know, it's cool. It's okay. So he get out the car. I make my way back home, prepare for the next day, go to class, go to work. We're still texting. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of got a little, I don't want to say dry on my end, but I kind of got, like, standoffish on my end, right? Nonetheless, I'm still talking or whatever. But next time, like, while we're texting, he's like, hey, I want to see, like, if we could hang out, like, go to the movies this weekend or whatever, right? I'm like, okay, cool, like, you know, that's all right with me. Let's plan something, let's do something with that, right? He's like, okay, you know, just pick a theater that's not too far from you or whatever, because mind you, oh, one thing I didn't mention, Jug didn't have a car. I felt like that was pretty self-explanatory when I said, like, he was waiting and looking for a ride, right? But he didn't have a car. And actually, I didn't have a car either. I was driving my dad's car. Yeah, so yeah, we was both carless, really. But none of this whole situation really was not far from where I lived. Okay, so like it wasn't too bad for me. I put it like max I drove like during the whole time I was speaking to him was like 20 minutes. Like nothing was far. It's not in the same area, but it's not far. So he was like, let's go to the movies. Let's figure something out. Like let's plan the time link up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I can't remember what came out around that time. I remember it was one movie that came out, and I was like, hey, look at this theater and see if this movie. I found the theater, and I told him like to call the theater or like see their showtimes to see like when this particular movie was going to be played so we could go. He's like, okay. He told me he did all that. We set a time, we set a date. Say it was just a weekend, right? And I'm like, alright, cool. Mind you, this has been like us talking maybe like 3 weeks so far. So it's a Saturday night. I'm on my way to like pick him up from his house. He's like 20 minutes from me, but like it's still night, and I wasn't a new driver, but I just didn't really care to drive at night at the time, even though I was a good driver. I am a good driver. I just didn't care to do stuff like that, because honestly this day I remember I wanted to just chill in the house, but I was like, you know, I already told this person I would go out. I don't really like standing people up, so, and I don't like changing my mind last minute about things, even though I will. I don't like to do it, alright? So it's never ill intent when I do it. So I'm like, you know, let me just go ahead and go, like I told him I would. I'm driving to his house. I get 5 minutes from this man's house. Mind you, the whole time I'm calling him, I'm texting him on my way, right? When I was calling him, he wasn't answering the phone. When I was texting him, he wasn't responding to my text. So I started slowing down. I'm like, okay, hold on. Why is he responding, right? And this is why I never leave or be on my way to places until that person responds. This is why. I'm 5 minutes from this man's house, right? Tell me why. He texts me, oh, no, I'm going to have to cancel today. I'm at my brother's football game. We've been talking about this thing all week long. You didn't know he had a game? So I was like, oh, no, I didn't know. So he called me. I was like,
you're at your brother's football game?
He's like,
yeah. Oh, man, I meant to tell you earlier today. My bad, I forgot.
I was like, we've been talking about this all week.
He's like,
Yeah, my bad.
Now I'm sorry, but my bad. Now people gonna be like,
oh, I'm sorry, my bad. It's the same thing.
it's not to me. It is not. I want to hear you humble yourself and say I'm sorry. Cause I'm like, bro, what? Like, you wasted my time, my gas, and my energy. Like, you act like we didn't talk about this thing earlier that day. What? I'm like, alright, you tripping, bro. You tripping. I said, okay. He gets silent on the phone.
Mind you, the only reason I was going was because he offered, so he was paying for my ticket, not me, so it was a free movie.
And I'm like, so like, you're not gonna make it back in time or nothing? He's like, nah. And he hangs up. You bald-headed scallywag. Be for real. I was like, you wasting my time, my energy, my gas. I'ma fix you. And that's what I did, right? So he would be texting me. When I say, oh, if I replied, it wasn't even much of a reply. I really distanced myself. I would go to Walmart, walk right past him, act like I didn't even see him. One day he texted me like, why you acting funny? Why you acting weird? I said, my nigga, like, how far am I? Oh yeah, I can say. I was like, my nigga, bro, like, you had me 5 minutes from your house when you had a whole week. I'm sure you knew about this football game at some point. You didn't say nothing. And when I'm almost on my way to pick, like almost at your house to pick you up, you tell me you can't make it. Like, you stood me up. Technically, you stood me up, and I'm not okay with that because you're not cute enough to be doing that. I'm sorry, you're not. So he's like,
man, I'm sorry, man. Like, I forgot. I didn't know.
How you ain't know? And on top of that, I don't know. In my opinion, if I would have like made plans with somebody and I had kind of liked them, and like I had found maybe last minute about a football game, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to catch y'all at the football game a later time or like next time or something like that. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna have more football games. Let's be real. But I'm like, okay, that's when one, I didn't start taking him serious. I was like, oh yeah, oh this play. This is play. Like two, I already wasn't liking him like that. But you know, everyone has some form of potential, correct? Right? Yeah. Okay. No. Some people got form of potential, but I was like, yeah, no. So them two things right there, I was like, oh yeah, this is a wrap. Like, I already feel like you're not taking this serious. Cause like you asked me on a date and it stood me up. How? Where they do that at? Huh? So he's like, no, can we replan? Can we reschedule, please? Like, I'll show up this time. I'm sorry. Like, he just kept apologizing, saying he's sorry. He'll be there this time. Could we replan? Could we reschedule? I said, no. I was standing 10 toes on what I said. I was like, no, I'm not doing this again. Like, you had one chance and you messed it up. One thing about it, two things for sure. You could do me wrong the first time, but I promise you won't do it the second time. Not the same way again. Nope. Fool me once, shame on you. How J. Cole say? He said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, but peace sign, get the chopper, let it rain on you. Yeah, that was that big move. That's a big move. So I was like, okay, yeah, no. I kept telling him no. He was like, look, I'll give you gas money. I said, well, that would be the only way I would go back out there. So I was like, he was like, how much do you want? I was like, give me $10 in gas money. Because really, it honestly wouldn't have taken that much to fill up the tank. Or like put, kind of like, for the time I wasted last time, it's about $7-8 in gas. Like, I was like, just give me $10, right? So he's like, all right, I'm gonna give you the $10. Just like, let's replan something. So we replanned it, tried to go to see the same movie, right? He told me he set everything up, and all we had to do was go to the theater. I go to his house the next weekend. Go to his house, pick him up. He hands me $10 because I said, hold on, before you get in the car, where's my money? I will turn this whole bus around. Where's my money? So he gave me my $10. He gets in the car, and we're on our way to the theater. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. This might have been dumb on my end, but I'm like, the time he wants us to go to the movie is kind of late. But some movie theaters do have showings at 10. But I was like, 10 is kind of like, this must be the last showing. Like, this is late. Either way, nonetheless, didn't think much about it. I already picked the movie, and he told me he set everything up. So we're on our way to the theater. We're just chit-chatting, catching up a little bit, because like I said, I haven't really been talking to him around this point. So I pull up to the theater. It's closed. And I'm just like, what? I said, wait. I thought you said the movie started at 10 o'clock. He's like,
I thought it did.
Good thing she don't get paid for thinking.
One thing I can tell y'all, he was so freaking dumb. I was like, what you mean you thought it did? I said, you didn't look at the time? He was like, nah. Yep, I'm never gonna see you again, buddy. I'm never gonna see you again. Y'all, let me pause and backtrack real quick because I forgot to mention one thing. Okay, so remember I told you about the cousin thing, right? About how he wanted to, do the hookabook with his cousin. Alright, so I want to say about a week after then, like I said, like we had been scarcely talking, but a week after then, He was texting me. I was leaving school. We was just chit-chatting it up, right? He was like, yo, I had a dream last night. Like, it was crazy. I said, oh, okay, that's cool. I was like, well, work was cool or whatever. Like, continuing the conversation. Didn't really ask much about what his dream was. He was like, so you're not going to ask about my dream? And I was like, do you want me to? He was like, nah, you don't want to hear about it. You don't want to hear about it. This is what he's saying through text. And I'm like, okay. Anyways, I'm about to head to work. Like, what you doing today? He was like, so you really not going to ask about my dream? No. I said, OMG, what's the dream about? Like, at this point, I'm annoyed. I'm like, bro, like, what is the dream about? And scarcely, like, throughout the video, I'm going to put receipts too. So you'll see those pop up. But I'm like, if you want to read them, you're going to have to pause it and read it. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm just like, what's the dream about? He's like, man, I had a dream about me and my ex fucking on the couch at my parents' house. Y'all, so if it already wasn't bad enough that you said the cousin thing, now you're telling me about this ex thing. And mind you, I had told you my buddy Chris that was working at Walmart, he was telling me that, like, Doug liked me, and it's also, oh, I see y'all flirting, which I didn't really see it as that, because he's telling me this stuff, so why would I think this person likes me? You talking about your cousin, you talking about your ex, and how you want them in the oddest way. Okay, ex is one thing, but your cousin, bro? Stop. So, with all this adding up, the cousin, the ex, you stood me up for the movies. What's that, you guys? 3 strikes and you're out. So yeah, I'm not thinking much about it. I'm just thinking like, okay, yeah, this guy is just entertainment purposes only.
And y'all, just to clarify, what I'm saying is, after the cousin thing, it was absolutely no potential for us ever. But after these last 2 events, he also got canceled out as like a friend.
So I was like, oh, when he told me about the dream, I was like, oh, okay. He told me, man, it was amazing. Like, I just want her back. And like, saying all this stuff, Thompson. Oh, man. Oh, like, I just really miss her. I said, so why'd you break up with her? Talking about, man, she was on some crazy stuff talking about she wanted to get my name tattooed on her. First of all, I would not recommend any female get any dude's name tattooed on them. I don't care. Whether you're dating, how long you've been dating, whether you're married. I just, you know, anything can happen. I just don't recommend it, you know. I don't know if that's the exact reason why he broke up with her. I didn't really get into details because I really didn't care. Because, like, at this point, like I said, potential has died out completely. Like, you know, there's some people that, like, they may not have potential in the beginning, but, like, they can kind of woo you, kind of charm you. Honey, that's gone. That potential was gone. So, I said, oh, okay. Again, I'm confused, to say the least. Flabbergasted. Don't really know what to say. Like, sometimes he would say things and I'm just like, I don't know what to say to that. But back again, fast forward to the movies. Go to the movies is closed. I'm like, okay, what the heck? I said, bro, like, Doug, you had me drive all the way out here again. Granted, you did give me gas money, but the movies is closed. You told me you set everything up. I come out here, the movies is closed. Like, what's up for real? He's like, no, it's cool. No, you don't have to, like, we don't have to just waste time. Like, we can just chill in the car. Don't do what I do. Learn from my mistakes. This was just stupid, y'all. Nothing happened, but I want to put that out there. I'm not that dumb. Your cousin? Boo. Boy, boo. So we sit in the car. I pull out my phone. I was like, well, we could watch a Netflix movie since I'm out here. That'll be some type of movie. So I can't remember the movie that we watched. It was like a comedy. We watched the movie, and once the movie was over, I was still irritated about the whole thing. And I'm like, alright, you know, the movie's done. I'm going to take you home. Whole time he's trying to flirt with me, trying to touch me. I'm like, no. Cousin fucker. No, we're not doing it. So, take us to the town. It's like, we sitting in the car talking after I got to his house. We're sitting in the car talking, just chilling, whatever. He's talking. He's like, you know, I really like you. I'm like, ha. Kind of blew it off, let it roll off the shoulder. I'm like, this can't be for real. This ain't real life for me. I laugh about it, dismiss it. Don't even think much about it. Don't ask no questions about it, whatever. So, like, you know, Doug, I gotta go. Because at this point, like I said, I'm through with the whole thing. I'm never going to see you again after this. I already made that up in my mind, honey. Made that up in my mind. We're never hanging out again. Never hung out again after that, by the way. Never hung out again. I was like, you know, I could text you, but I would never waste my time, energy, or nothing. Gas, seeing you ever again. So, you know, I was telling him, you know, I got to go, whatever. Oh, I forgot about this. That same night, I had been out late. It was like, mind you, it was a weekend. It was like 12 because the movie we had watched in the car was like 2 hours or whatever. Don't ever be out that late as a young female. Don't. So, because guys start to get the wrong idea, right? So, I remember, like, during this time, me and my ex had broke up, but we were still friends. Like, we was just friends or whatever. And he had my Snapchat. He could see my Snapchat location. Now, like I said, we were still best friends because we was best friends before we was in a relationship. And I don't know, it's just, those situations could be really weird and like they just don't work out, honestly. So I remember he had texted me, but I didn't reply to him like all day. And I guess he was looking at my Snapchat location and he seen that I wasn't at my house. So he started calling me. He started calling me repeatedly on like Snapchat, and I couldn't decline him. And so then he called me from like his actual number, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I had told Doug, I said, can you hold on? Because he was talking. I told him, can you hold on, be quiet real quick? He was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I just got a quick phone call. I said, hello. My ex said,
Where are you? Why are you out so late? You're not even at your house. Like, what are you doing?
first of all, we are not in a relationship. You don't have to, you can't ask me where I'm at, what I'm doing. You're the reason why we're not in a relationship. Well, you know what? I lied a little bit there because I wanted to get out that relationship so bad. Real bad. I wanted to get out of the relationship real bad. So I just felt like what happened like between us, like, so that's a whole nother story. That was another situation. I was so glad when it happened though. That was an opportunity for me to use to get about that relationship. A blessing in disguise. So I'm like, why are you questioning me like that? Like, we're not even together. I was like, you tripping for real? Like, just chill out. I said, I'm gonna call you when I get back to the house. He's like, oh my gosh. And so Doug proceeds to ask me, who was that? I was like, I ain't gotta lie to you. I said, that was my ex. I mean, you would tell me all this other BS. Why not? I said, yeah, that was my ex. He's like, oh, what did he want? I was like, okay, now that part's none of your business. I was like, oh, you know, he was just talking to me about his grandma, how she's not doing well or whatever. Sorry, I did not mean to put it on her, but I did. He was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, all right. Anyways, he continued talking, basically picking up where he left off. I take that back. I originally told him it was my dad that called me. I originally told him it was my dad that called me because I was trying to get him out the car so I could go home because he was just talking for too long. I remember I told him it was my dad. I said something like he wanted his car back. That's what I said. But y'all, it was actually my ex that called me. And I'm going to bring that back up in a minute. So he was like, oh, okay. So I basically told him, I was like, you know, I got to go home. It's getting late. It's like almost 2 in the morning. And I just need to go home. So he's like, oh, okay. Basically wrapping up the conversation. And this boy leans in for a kiss. I about snatched my head off my shoulders. I was like, what you doing? He told him.
What?
He tried leaning in again. I said, bah. I ain't gonna lie, I slapped him in the face. Cause I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he's like,
why you hit me?
I was like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to touch? Like, no, we don't kiss. No, I don't know what cousin you been on. Keep that stuff over there. All right, we don't do that over here. He was like, I didn't tell him that, but yeah. And he was like, why are you acting like that? I was like, bro, like, no. He was like, alright, man, whatever. Got out the car, went in the house. I was like, okay, bet, I can go now. So I went home, wrapped up that night. He was like, it was cool hanging out with you or whatever. He had sent me this in text. I was like, oh, cool, no problem, whatever, right? Next day comes around. I remember I got out of school, didn't have to work that day, so I went to my mom's job. And she was working at this retail store at the time. And so I'm just in there visiting her, walking around the store, seeing what I like, whatever. Because, you know, she had the discount. She had the hookup for me, right? And Doug texts me out the blue like, oh, I have something I want to tell you. Basically professing his love. And I'm like, BFFR. Stop playing with me. Like, what? Cousin, ex, stood up, just stupid. No. I was like, oh, so like I'm taking what he's saying as a joke. He's like, you know, I love you. I want to be with you. I've been claiming you around my family. Claiming me around your family? Honey, I'm not luggage. You can't claim me. I'm not luggage. I don't see a ring on this finger. And it will never be with you. So we can get that thought out of our head. So I'm like, oh, stop playing with me. He's like, oh, I'm not playing with you. Why are you taking everything as a joke? You've been trying to play me left this whole time. What's good? We've been talking for a long time. Sir, we've only been talking for a month. Everything I've been saying, it's not like it's happened over like a good time span. Y'all, it was only a month. It was only a month. Alright? I'm just like, boy, boo, stop playing with me. I said anybody looking your way like that. So I was nice in the beginning. I was like, nah, I'm not interested in you like that. You know, we cool as friends or whatever. Trying to be polite, but you know, niggas getting their feelings. So he started trying to go off on me through text. 4 hours. And I'm just like, bro, like, chill out. It's not that deep. Like, you really tripping for real. Like, it's just not like that. I said, sorry if you took anything I said or did the wrong way, which y'all see how I was going throughout this whole story time. Yeah, I may say some stuff that could be taken the wrong way. But that was in the beginning. Like, as time went on, y'all can see I was just really curving him left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. So, be for real. So, he's still talking about how he feels like we should be together. Just all this hoopla. And I'm just like, no, you're a cousin fucker. I was like, no, we're not doing it. So, he tries to go off on me through text. I'm just like, bro, it's really not that deep. It's really not that deep. We've only been talking for a month. You're talking about a long time. It has not been a long time. At all. He sent me all these little mean messages or whatever. I'm not about to go through all that, but I'm gonna post them right here or somewhere up in here. And I'm just like, bro, like, it was just never gave that. I said, how do you want to talk to me? But you was talking about how you liked your cousin, how you missed your ex. How does that work? In what world do they do that? Where is that normal? Like, huh? No, that's not normal in this world. Maybe on another planet, but not here. So, wrapping it up, really, he had sent me this long paragraph. And one thing I'm going to tell you about me, if we're having an argument or disagreement, whatever, and like we're going at it with each other, do not send me no long paragraph unless it's an apology. Because if you're already going off of me, calling me, texting me, like, just he's doing the most about the situation. I'm like, bro, like, you gonna send me, I know that if you're going off on me, and you send me a long message, it's just, I'm not reading that. Because why would I read a long message that you sent just so I can get my feelings hurt? Talking about,
oh, you missing out on your blessing. Oh, you'll never find nobody like me. Oh, you just like niggas that cheat on you.
What? Niggas that cheat on me? I've been in one relationship. And I didn't get cheated on, really. It was weird, but yeah. I always say I got cheated on, but yeah. But I'm like, no. Just going off. And I said, you know what? I said, just so you know, then I told you my dad called me. It wasn't really my dad. It was my ex. I don't know. I did just kind of get under his skin. So yeah, that's why I was gonna bring it up later. I was like, yeah, that was my ex. He's like, oh, why are you still talking to your ex? You must like niggas that lie and cheat on you. I said something like, oh, it's none of your concern. You need to mind your business. That just lets you know I'm not interested in you or whatever. And he tells me, why would he be calling you anyway? I was like, okay, now that part's none of your business. I was like, oh, he told me his grandma was sick. I was like,
oh, you wild for hanging up on that man when he was still calling you that night talking about his grandma sick?
Really, she was not sick. Again, I'm sorry about that for her. Tells him, why would you do that? Oh, you so unfaithful. You so unloyal. I ain't gotta be faithful or loyal to no nigga I'm not with. Period. Like, Lori Harvey energy, bro. Like, stop playing. I'm like, don't. Just stop. I said, you worried about a situation that ain't got nothing to do with you. I said, you need to focus on the situation at hand. That's why I don't want you. And that's because everything you taught me talking about.
You really played a nigga. You led me on. I was
like, how did I lead you on? When you talking about how you want to sleep with your cousin and your ex. Tell them.
That night, we were supposed to go to the movies and we missed the movies. We could have at least bumped in the car.
I was like, bro, I said, first of all, ain't nobody want you like that. Yes, I said that. I said, didn't nobody want you like that. You need to stop playing with yourself. I said, you really think you're better than what you are, and you're not. You like incest, clearly. You still miss your ex, and like you're just not attractive to me. I'm sorry. So that's when he sent that long paragraph. I dismissed it because I'm gonna lie around that time I had other hoes I was talking to. So thank you. Next, thank you. Next. I was not worried about him, okay? So, like I said, he sent a long paragraph. Didn't read it until like last year. Was it last year when I read that story or did that story time? It was like last year or the year before when I did story time. That's the first time I actually read that long paragraph he he had sent to me. But yeah, up to that point I had never read it. And the last thing he had did before I had blocked him, because yeah, I blocked him, you weirdo. He was like, he called me to,
I don't want you working at Walmart no more.
How you gonna stop me from getting a job? Boy, boo, go no. And talking about,
you know what? I never want to speak to you again. Adios.
I said, okay. So I'm waiting for him to hang up, like, okay. Like, I thought it was gonna be an immediate click afterwards. He was still sitting on the phone, so I said, you're weird. And I hit end call, like, you're really weird. Still wasn't the weirdest person. No. He probably, I don't know. That's a tight race. But yeah. That's the time I spoke to a weirdo. That's one of the times I spoke to a weirdo. Or basically, as you can see from the title down below, this story time about the time he wanted to fuck his cousin, his ex, and me. Absolutely not. We don't do that. Anyways, you guys, if I forgot anything, I'll put it in a voiceover. That's all I have for you all today. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe to this video, give this video a thumbs up, hit that post notifications bell down below so you're notified whenever I post. And I can't wait to see you all in my next video. Subscribe. Watch some of my videos. Let's get them watch hours up. Follow me on all my social medias. And I love you guys. Bye.